No credible historian would deny the fact that Jesus really did live 2,000 years ago, more than 3,000 miles away. But the question remains, who was this Jesus man? Well, we know he was a man, a human like you and like me, that he had a human body, that he ate and slept. We know that he had human emotions, that he had love, compassion, that he could laugh and cry. And we know that he had human experience, that he grew up in a family, that he had a job, that he lived within a local community. But Jesus claimed to be more than just a man. He claimed to be the Son of God, God in flesh, the Messiah. And it was this very claim that led to him being crucified and dying on a cross. So his claim to be the Messiah, the Son of God, leaves us with only three options remaining when we ask the question, who is Jesus? Either Jesus was a fraudster, tricking people about his identity, or Jesus was deluded. He had some mental health issues and was completely confused about who he really was. Or thirdly, that he was who he claimed to be. So let's just think about these for a moment. Maybe Jesus was a fraudster, except for the fact that Jesus seems to get no gain in his own lifetime for his claims. He doesn't become rich or powerful by these claims. As I said before, all it does is lead to him being crucified and dying. So this is not a great trick by Jesus. And of course, the idea that Jesus was deluded doesn't really stand up when we see the quality of his moral teaching. His moral teaching is still held up today as the standard for our culture. Much of our universities, hospitals, justice system is still based on the teachings of Jesus. Particularly the Sermon on the Mount is considered the greatest teaching in human history. This doesn't sound like a deluded man. And so perhaps Jesus really was who he claimed to be. And I want to suggest just three things for you to ponder on, to think about who Jesus really was, and maybe to encourage you to think that Jesus really was the Son of God. Firstly, there are books written about Jesus hundreds of years before he was born. And these include incredible details that are going to happen in Jesus' life that Jesus would have no control over. For example, they describe where he would be born, what would happen around his birth, how he would die. And Jesus is not in control of these circumstances, and yet they all match perfectly with what was claimed hundreds of years before Jesus' life. So firstly, we see Jesus' life and death being prophesied before he even existed. How could he possibly have matched up to those things? Secondly, we see hundreds of people witnessing to Jesus, his miracles, his death, and his resurrection. There are more than 500 witnesses to the resurrected Jesus. And these are not all just Jesus' close friends. It's a whole plethora of people. And thirdly, those people who believed in Jesus at the time willingly died for what they believed in. Many of the people closest to Jesus were also crucified or murdered because they refused to deny that Jesus was the Son of God. They believed it so intently that they too were willing to die. This doesn't sound like a fraudster. This doesn't sound like a deluded man. This sounds like God in flesh. This sounds like the Messiah, the Son of God. So I wonder for you this Easter week, who is Jesus? And if he is who he claimed to be, what does him dying really mean for us?